Hello folks, today we have a very special recipe that we are making. A lot of people have asked us to make a roasted leg of lamb. This thing is about 4 pounds, or you can call it a 1 kilo and 800 grams. First of all, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to remove some of the fat that I see, but I'm not going to take every single thing out because the fat in here has its own flavor. So it adds flavor, and not only that, it adds moisture to your roast as well. So basically the technique we'll be using today will be roasting or grilling. I will actually be grilling it, and we have a special way of doing it. A lot of people think you can't really grill meats this big properly on a grill unless if you have a smoker or you have some way to slow cook it. So we're going to be slow cooking it nonetheless, and our cooking time is probably going to be, I don't know, I would say between 3.5 hours probably. We'll see when we get to the desired doneness, but yeah, we'll slow cook it, and we're going to achieve that on a regular grill, and that's something all of you can do as well at your home. Again, you don't want to take every single thing out. Leave some fat in there. That's gonna give you some good taste. So anything that you can grab onto easily. So what we're gonna do is we're not gonna make long skirts. What we will do instead is we're gonna poke it through like that, so my finger can go in, right? So I can probably make it a little bit bigger as well. It's gonna keep the shape of the leg intact, because when you do big skirts like that, it kind of like falls apart. When our leg comes out in the end, it's still gonna keep its nice shape, because you know, food is also about presentation and what comes in front of you. Again, you want to go into the deepest part of the meat. The shallow parts don't really need that. So once you have decent scoring, we're gonna go ahead and get our marinade ready. We're following this Middle Eastern / Mediterranean recipe. It comes out amazing. We'll be using 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 2 tablespoons of oil, 2 teaspoons of crushed cumin, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 teaspoons of crushed red pepper or chili flakes. So let's go ahead and start mixing these up. And so as you can see, this is not heavy on ingredients or spices. So now that we have everything mixed up, of course I want it to be a little bit runnier because we need to spread it on the lamb. So I'm going to add some water to it now, and here I have about maybe tablespoon and a half that I used, and you just mix it up nicely. So you can add as little or as more water as you want. Just make sure don't make it too runny, because you have to spread it on your leg, well, the lamb's leg, and you want it to stay there. All right, so now that our rub is ready, we're gonna go ahead and start putting it on the lamb. So now before I do that, if you remember in the beginning, we said something about the joint. So this is your lamb, consider standing with just one leg, and this is where your joint is, right? So this is your joint. We want it to be folded when it goes inside the pan or whatever vessel we are using for cooking. And right now, if you see, it's kind of like being stubborn, right? The joint is, I can feel it with my fingers. It's right here at this point, right? So I'm gonna go through here and get to the joint, and then get the cartilage that's holding it. So I'm going to start right up here, and if you see, look at that. What's going to happen is number one, it's going to fit in our vessel or our pan, whatever we're using, and number two is going to kind of like make it a consistent lump of meat that's going to cook thoroughly or evenly, versus something that's like that. Now you have really thin parts up here, thick part up here, and it's not going to cook properly, right? So now that we have done all that, we're gonna start putting the marinade on. So you just spread it on top. So just make sure you give it a good rub. So I'm gonna be marinating it in the refrigerator for probably about, I would say, maybe 16 to 18 hours. But for ideal results or for best results, do it overnight or even 24 hours. The longer this thing stays in there, the happier it's gonna get. So now it's marinated. It's gonna go in the refrigerator, and we'll take it out once it's ready. Folks, so now we have our leg of lamb taken out of the refrigerator, and here we have it. So as you can see, it's nicely coated still on both sides. Now all we have to do is wrap this up in a foil and throw that on our grill. So we're gonna put our leg right up here, And remember, we did the cut up here, and the reason for that is so that we can pull it nice and tight. I'm gonna put some vegetables and a couple of more items up here. So we're gonna be putting peppers. I'm gonna be slicing up 2 lemons, putting them in here, and we'll be putting up some carrots in there too. So I'm gonna slice up the lemons roughly. So these are gonna go up here. And the reason for this is that if I just throw the juice on top, it's gonna all go at the bottom. Doing it this way, it's gonna retain the juice and release it slowly. So I'll do that with another lemon, and this one we're gonna put it underneath. So you just take it, stick them underneath there. Now we'll do the same thing with our peppers, and just throw it on top like so. Throw it on top, cut them into half, and put a layer underneath the leg. So this is gonna go right up here, and this will go right up here. And same thing for our carrots. We're gonna throw some in there and throw some at the bottom. They'll be really amazing at the tail end. So now what you do is you fold the whole thing up nicely, as tight as you can. So this is what I want to do. Tuck everything inside. I'm gonna do it like that, and then make it as tight as you can, and then roll it over like so. And this is going to be our package, and if you want you can probably do a couple of more layers on top. So I'm going to do that just for a good measure, and then we're going to throw that on the fire. All right, so we're going to take our package, nice package, and we're going to bring it up here. This is a technique to slow cook over direct fire. You don't want it to be on top of the fire directly. You want it to be offset on the side. We're going to put our package right up here. I want the temperature in here to come up to 350. So I'm going to close this. Once we get to 350, I'm going to moderate it and keep an eye on it. So it's going to sit in there at least for an hour. I'm going to come back in 1 hour and we'll take a look at it, and then we'll flip it. We're probably looking at close to 3 hours, 3.5 hours total time, cook time, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so now as you guys can see, we're pretty close to 350. All right guys, so it's been an hour since we last closed the curtains on this thing. So we're gonna open it, check for temperature right now. I did add some coals halfway down. What's our temperature reading? So if you can see, we're at 106, and this is on the top part. And as you can see, we are higher, tad bit higher, so it's pretty cooking pretty consistently, which is what we want. So I'm gonna close it for another hour now. All right guys, it's been close to 2 hours since we started cooking, and about an hour since we last checked it. So we're still maintained at a steady 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So we'll take a quick look, and I've added coals twice in here in between. So let's see what our temperature is at right now. So right now we're at 173, 74. So looking pretty good. So we're gonna give it more time, and I'm gonna close it. So we'll check it in another about 40 minutes. Folks, so it's been about 2.5 hours now, but right now the fire is pretty good. So right now we're at 193, which is okay for this kind of meat because it's slow cooking. We want it to be nice and juicy inside, so we'll probably leave it in there for a little bit more. We'll come back and check, and then once that's done, we're gonna take it out and we'll do it on high heat over here to get the searing on the top. I will probably flip it right now. So as you can see, the juices are coming out, which is always a good sign. So we'll close it one more time and come back. All right folks, so we're at 2 hour 15 minutes, probably 20, and we're maintaining 320 degrees right now. It's been steady at between 320 350, and I've added coals in there 3 times. So let's take a look. All right, so we're steady at right around 200. This is where we want it to be because that's where you get the most flavor and the texture inside the leg. So at this point, I'm gonna add to my fire here. I'm gonna add some fresh coals to it, and then we're gonna open our leg, and I will sear it probably 10 minutes on each side to to get that nice crispy look and feel. Here we have our leg, and if you can get the flavors and smell that's coming out of this thing right now, it's unbelievable. All right, so hopefully you can get a good look at what's going on inside and check that out. So let me show you what is the doneness of this thing right now. It's as you can see, it's falling apart, so I don't want it to lose its shape because we need it for the presentation at the tail end. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna place it on the coals for it to get that nice crispy charring on the outside. All right, now so we will take our leg carefully and we will place it right on top of the fire and let it get some nice searing. So we'll let it sit there 6-7 minutes and we'll flip it and then we'll do presentation. I just pulled it out of the grill. It was getting dark outside, so I just put it on top of a bed of rice, and we topped it off with some cucumbers, some tomatoes, and did some French fries with it as well. These are peel on. I like them like that. Just drizzle with some salt and pepper, and that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go ahead and do a taste test now. So I'm short of a cameraman today, so I will be putting this on the stand, and then we'll do a quick taste test to see how this came out. So I'm going to cut just a small piece of it, and hopefully you can see what's going on inside. Look at the color of that, and it's basically falling off the bone. Don't even have to cut it. So I'm going to take a small piece, give it a taste test. I tell you, this is so good. Definitely not overpowering. You can get all the awesomeness and the flavor of the lamb coming through. No gaminess at all, and the flavors are just right, perfectly complementing and accenting the flavor of the lamb. I'm gonna have to take another piece. This is too good. Yeah, definitely go ahead and try this out. Let us know how it came out for you and how you like it. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Until then, this is Mo Eats.